wild and windy Altenberg in Germany, the venue for race 3 of the Viessmann FIBT two-man bobsleigh World Cup season. After heavy overnight rain, we have a tough track to race on here. Martin Haven and John Morgan at trackside watching the action as we get into our second and deciding heat. And John, despite the weather conditions, we've got a great race shaping up here.
Well, the sun's come out, which is very surprising here in Altenberg, and great crowd on hand. This is a great bobsled crowd. These people know the sport. It's like going to the Montreal Forum and watching hockey. But here, the two-man bobsled first heat highlights. Mel Bardis, now he did something wrong. He had the best start time, but out of the first curve, he was already behind the 8 ball. Surprising that he didn't do better than he did. Now, he's a couple tenths out of that top spot, but he could move up. And of course, he won the last event in Calgary. He's definitely one of the favorites. Nico Walter, he's from right here. Young German pilot, a lot of promise. And he came out of the box and did what everybody expected him to do. Put a great run down, didn't have the great start time, 6th best start, but in the bottom. Good speeds on a soft track, and he's in a great medal position. Miat Hefty. Here's the Alex Bauman. They won the silver medal at the Olympics, two-man bobsled. And here, he went early and posted a time that nobody could touch on the track that they call the Darlington of bobsledding. It's the track's too tough to tame.
Well, look at the gaps there. In these wet conditions, the track slowed down dramatically. There's almost a 1/10 of a second between every one of those guys outside the top 3. We expect to see that down in hundreds. And that's the battle a little further back for a top 10 spot. Adrianov, the Russian rookie, 100th ahead of a couple of American sleds. 24 sleds started, only the fastest 20 go through into Heat 2. Benny Meyer will be first on the ice for Austria as they go 20-1 to decide our winner. Warming up before the start of the action, coaches having a little bit of ball, and the drivers, they're Loic Kosterg of France, thinking their way down the track. Look at the temperature though, same coming up to booth just now, John, before Heat 2, it's got to be +10, probably is. Ice temperature still above 0. Now that's
frosty.
Yeah, the refrigeration is on very hard, and that means where there's no longer any standing water, there will be a lot of frost, and the track will deteriorate quick. There's Steve Holcomb, former 2- and 4-man Olympic champion. The sleds with the runners uncovered in the air. That's against the control steel there, measured for temperature so they're not too warm. So 20-1, the start list goes down from Benny Meyer, who was in 20th place in the first heat, to Beat Hefty, our race leader, who will defend a 2/10 of a second advantage over Nico Walter. Now, in normal bobsledding terms, that's almost an insurmountable challenge. Oscar's Mel Bardis, joint points leader, third, nearly 4/10 back, but these are not normal conditions. Benny Meyer of Austria ready to get this second and deciding heat underway. First World Cup race for the Austrians, like the Italians, the Czechs, and a number of others. Didn't do the North American trail.
Meyer, coming from one of the first families of sliding now. His brother competed in the skeleton race this morning. Father Manfred coaches the development programs and the bobsled teams. His brakeman, Marcus Sammer, he'll be driving in the two-man competition next week in Königssee. The other Austrian driver didn't make the cut. They switch off back and forth. These are good lines up top. I mean, this is the track that's too tough to tame. It's the lady in black, all of the above. But today, the athlete's got a better chance. The ice is real soft. Watch this out of Kreisel, 11-12. Watch these pictures. 13, big pressure, 3.5 Gs here. 14, watch the straightaway coming at you. Look at the rudder tips. It's on the wrong side of the straightaway. Speed's everything on this track. At the bottom, Meyer down 57-61. Boy, that's 4/10 better.
Yeah, well, the track has had half an hour extra preparation. Don't forget how late in the draw he came out.
Yeah, he was 18th out.
So the track was in no sort of state, and in fact, his speed better all the way down the track.
got a fresh track. You're right.
Yeah.
Good ice to work with. And there he is at a 9, pivotal part of the track. Long straightaway. You want to be going straight, not across the ice like this. Plus, his head's way up. Look, you can see the brakeman back there. The good teams, you'll see the head all the way down to where the eyes are just above the cowling. But he's a young driver.
Still learning this track, and this is not one you take lightly as a bobsled driver or as a brakeman. Benny Meyer leads, though, for Austria. Next up on the ice is Jan Verber of the Czech Republic, another driver making his seasonal World Cup debut, stayed in Europe just before Christmas. Dominic Suti, his regular brakeman.
Not a very good start in the first run, 5:38. And he went very late also. He went 19th right after Meyer. 5:44, not good. Ooh, and a tap. That little, you hear that noise in curve 1? Boy, that's like throwing an anchor out. 3, 4, 5, the crossover. Now this is where you have to let it accelerate. 3-corner combination, the labyrinth, 6, 7, and 8. Now watch the runner tips here, the exit of 9. This is the slingshot. You don't sling very good when you hit the wall like that.
Big skid, but he's got better speed into the Kreisel than the Austrians. He's just pulled level with them from being behind at the start. 109.9, 2 kilometers an hour up, John.
And this is the Czech home track for years. Ooh, let's look at the way he plays with the runners to try and save it. He's going to have enough here.
Still quicker, accelerating away. New aerodynamic cowl designed by Bruno Mijon on this 14-year-old chassis they're driving. 57.43, again, over half a second better.
5300's better. This is their home track. You know, the Czech Republic is only about 4 miles away from this facility.
Well, we're almost exactly halfway between Dresden and Prague, the 2 nearest big cities.
Good guy, Jan Verber. Better foreman. Look how high, 11 and 12. This is the pivotal part of the track. And this is where you can steer here today because the ice is soft. There's a lot more forgiveness from the lady in black here than normally is. Normally, there was 15, 16 crashes in practice.
Problem is, when you make those movements with the runners and the runners get sideways, the ice is softer, it breaks even more. Slows you down. There's Jan Verber, our race leader, after the first 2 sleds here in Altenberg. Maciej Luti of Poland, the only man outside a top 20 start draw to really make a big impression in Heat 1. From 23rd position, made it into 18th place, made the cut on his first World Cup race of the season.
Luti, track and field background. 21st start time. Look at it, 5:42, 5:45. Boy, some of these starts. Pretty straight though. The track, if it's ever going to glisten, it's going to glisten today.
And where it doesn't glisten in the corners, very frosty, which grips at the runners as well.
Verber should have been ahead of this pole sled right here. I expect it.
Well, the pole started 100th behind and were just a little slower in the first speed trap, but they've got more speed into the Kreisel. Slender lead, 100th of a second. Very close indeed. Little slower than the Czechs off the Kreisel turn.
Much better through this straightaway though than Verber. Instead, heat into the 100 speeds exact.
Slower, just a fraction.
Going to be right to the 100.
Oh, 100th of a second. He slips a position.
Unbelievable. Look at the coaches, Andre and the right.
Well, when you think the top 3 are separated by 4 tenths, we're seeing the guys at the tail end of the field separated by 100th of a second.
Well, I think it's going to be a little closer all the way down.
I think you're absolutely right. The fast guys had great ice or better ice in the first heat. They're going to get worst ice in the second heat. That should concertina the field.
Yeah, here's that at 9. Look at the sled rock. Look at the driver's eyes. Can we see the brakeman back there a little bit? A little bit of tap. It's not clean. We'll see teams come through there better than this, but he's still got a skid going. Hey, not bad for one of his World Cup debuts for us.
Yeah. Well, he raced as Poland 2 for a couple of seasons. Now he's Poland 1. Chris Spring, last time he was here on this track, December 2011, crashed in training in a 4-man sled. Spent a while in hospital, as did his crew in Dresden. Long road to recovery is fully completed, though. You would plug on the sled. So this is his first 2-man race here.
after that crash in December of 2011. I visited him in the Dresden hospital a couple days later. You know, talking to him earlier in the week, he wouldn't know he even crashed.
Yeah.
His interviews are on Bobsleigh, or FIBT Bobsleigh website, Facebook. You wouldn't even know the guy crashed. He was all business and fearless, and he shouldn't be back in 17th place. This is a very good pilot.
This is a much better looking trip. Didn't have a good strong start in the first heat. Didn't have a good trip at all.
Yeah, well, this is what we expect Chris Spring to do. He could move up 3-4 places. Look at these lines. Look at these lines. Look at the speed. Excellent. Now watch him exit 13. Rudder tips.
Not going to open up much more ground. Speed is about the same as the Czechs and the Poles.
1:17.5 is pretty good.
That's good. Much better at the bottom.
This is some run.
57.6 in the first heat. 57.1 in the second. That's much more like Springer.
Yeah, that's 4,700ths better in this run than the last run. That's the Chris Spring we knew. In the first heat, you know, there's no lets in bobsledding. You got to put them both together. But he's got four men
taken on the track that bit him and his crew so badly, and he's not going to let it win.
Here's the replay through 11 and 12. These are great lines, almost textbook. Coming down, his head's pretty much too high though. Now watch the take on here. Almost like going through a stream of water. Wow.
Well, you see a lot of first-time drivers with their heads up. Chris Spring, though, is our race leader. Alexei Zaitsev of Russia, 16th off the first of two heats here in Altenberg, Germany. Just 800ths of a second ahead of Canada's Chris Spring in the first heat. Spring is our leader now. See how windy it is, blowing the cameraman around on his perch at the top of the track.
Some big men running across the ice about 20 miles an hour, jumping in that small little bathtub. 5:37, very precise to their first run. And, you know, they came in for headshots this week. We didn't see them in North America, and we have them isolated in a room, and we asked them to tell us what it's like to be a member of the Russian bobsled team, and all of them almost say exact, it's an honor. And after last year's Winter Olympics, where they won double gold and 2 and 4, they won the Olympic skeleton men's gold, they won a bronze in women's skeleton. Russia is a sliding power now that has emerged. Used to be just Germany and Switzerland. Now it's Germany, Switzerland, Russia, Canada, the United States. And he's got 1100ths lead here. This is pretty good.
Decent speed as well. Should hang on to that lead down at the bottom. Needs 1:17's. Got it.
Got it. This is great.
Fastest speed we've seen, fastest run we've seen so far. Under 57, not quite. 57.08. Again, nearly half a second better than his first heat.
Everybody's going to have second.
Looks
better.
like, well, less water, less standing water.
Yeah, it's
that
been
really
dry.
slows the sled down.
There was so much water in that first heat.
Yeah.
It looked like it was more for canoes and kayaks coming down.
I was saying to some of the guys, take the runners off. It'll be better as a kayak than as a sled. Well, Alexei Stulnev put together a neat and tidy run as well. First World Cup race of the season for him.
Look at, you know, you can run too far here. We saw that in the first heat. A lot of people are running too far. Look how quickly the brake march, his arms come up, get in, bury yourself down in there. Look at his eyes. That's, to me, is the perfect aerodynamic profile.
Crisping Derek Plug on the weighbridge. And the Russians follow them in. Alexei Stulnev, the race leader. We have had 5 sleds of our 20 down the track. So we're still some way from deciding our medals. Top of the track now, red, white and blue off, not Russia but France. This is Lloyd Kosterg with Roman Heinrich from La Plagne, coached by the French legend Bruno Mijon. It's their first World Cup race of the season. Now, John, remember the first heat, how far the brakeman ran behind the driver, and he does again. Couple less steps this time, and it works better for them.
But 5:40 starting to 5:41 in the first heat. Better speed. That kilometers an hour on the left side is your start speed out of curve 1. Ooh, tap there between 2 and 3, 4. good last year. His albatross, like anybody, when you have the 20th best start, you really got to be perfect. Look at him try and get control.
109.4, little slower than our leader, Alexei Stulnev. He's in the red behind by just 800ths, but that gap will grow. There it is, 2400s back now.
He's going to fall back at least 1, if not 2 spots.
At the moment, he's only in 3rd place. So behind Stulnev and Spring.
Speed's way off the pace. French 6th best time of the run. The Russians move up 1, so does Chris Spring of Canada.
Lloyd Koster, Roman Heinrich in 3rd place with 14 sleds still to go. Too many driving errors there. Really, he hit the wall, had a few skids, and that's always going to take your time away from you.
Well, when you have a deficient start time, you can't make any mistakes up top of the track. He had a couple taps right here, 9 and 10. This didn't help. Watch the runner tips here. He knows he's in a skid. Gets back control by just checking the runners, they call that. A quick flick. Look at the way the sled straightens out. Tough to do at 70+ miles an hour. Now he goes into that Kreisel curve from there.
Und vielleicht gibt es ja in diesem Rennen die erste deutsche Medaille.
Nick Cunningham of the USA with Alex Harrison behind him. Of the 3 US men pilots, only Stephen Holcomb has ever raced on this track before. 14th place for his first racing trip. Not bad from Nick Cunningham. Let's see if he can find a bit more pace.
Cunningham, Harrison, 18th best start in the first run, which, unlike 2 very good athletes they are, 5:34, a little bit better, but Cunningham made his mistake right here coming up. He banged both walls here. This is much cleaner.
Well, that's going to keep so much of his momentum alive that he didn't have in Heat 1, but now the corners are coming at him faster than he's used to.
The 1100ths lead on the Russian. He's going to have to really be perfect. Watch the runner tips here on the exit of 9. This is way better than his first run. Still losing time, though.
Faster in to everybody except for the Russian. Stulnev had 1:10.1 on the exit, 1:09.9, just a fraction in it. Gap's coming right down.
No room for errors. Runner tips got to be perfect here. Down to 2. This is too close to call.
Very close indeed
right
to the line.
100th.
And he's just behind, 57.23. Just a fraction of a second, 300ths between them.
Well, considering that he crashed his 2-man the last day of training. 2 crashes this week, I think, for Nick. There were 17 crashes in training.
Yep.
This was a tough week for everybody, and it was cold, and the ice was firm. Now the ice is soft. The track's not as dangerous.
See Alana Myers there, winner of the race yesterday for the women, taped up from the impacts of her crash.
7, 8, 9, 3-corner combination. Watch him climb. Now watch him dive out of this curve. The spectators are close they get. Now look at the runner tips, look at the driver's head. Barely see the brakeman back there. Look at the camaraderie in the sport. It's unbelievable.
Well, big nations, but it is a small sport. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows this man too. USA's former Olympic and world champion Stephen Holcomb. Aron Surf Victorian behind him. See if they can find a wave to surf down this track.
5:35 in the first run, should be better. 5:32. He's got a quarter of a second lead. He did tap up here a couple times in the first run, unlike Holcomb, who last year when he won the bronze medal at the Olympics had the 3rd best start at the Olympics. Now he had the 3rd best start in the first run. And if you don't have start time in bobsledding, it puts a lot of pressure on your driving. Sometimes that's not a good cocktail.
1900s in front of Stulnev in the first heat. He's 1800s in front now. This is level pegging, but he's not quite as quick.
Just the same thing Cunningham had. He had a lead going into the Kreisel. Bottom part of the track, he lost it. Holcomb's doing the same thing.
1:09.9. The Russians had 1:10.1. Russians 1:17.7 at the bottom. Holcomb 1:17.9. Just enough to dip to the line and stay in the lead of the race. 500ths of a second in front of Alexei Stulnev. Take that every day. Well, Stephen Holcomb just came down 57.22. Teammate Nick Cunningham came down 57.23 right in front of him. That's pretty much par for the course at the moment.
Both sleds lost time on the bottom part of the track. Holcomb had quarter of a second lead at the top, only 3 at the bottom. And start, you know, the athleticism to get in, get out. Watch the power step. Driver Holcomb in first and down, and watch the brakeman. Watch his arms come up and around. This is like ballet on ice. In, down, bury yourself. And he's the leader, but not by much.
Justin Cripps of Canada with Ben Coquelle behind him. Getting up to a year from his first ever World Cup win, which was in Koenigsegg, Bavaria at the end of last season. We go to Koenigsegg next week. But first, he's got to take on another German mighty track, this Altenberg track. Martin Haven alongside me, John Morgan watching the action here, close to the Czech border in southeastern Germany.
9th best start in the first run. Cripps didn't have very good descent down the track. Boy, they both got in together. 5:29, best start of the heat so far. 200's better. And watch the speed, 49.8. That's seated 49.9. So that means their best start didn't provide them the best speed. Cripps, he won the Koenigsegg event last year, and that's where we go next week. That was his first ever World Cup victory. These are lines that you want to teach everybody how to drive. These are perfect so far.
From 500s ahead of Stephen Holcomb at the start, he's now a quarter second up, and the margin is growing.
This is the Justin Cripps we all expect right here.
Now, has he got the speed at the bottom in the Eurotech sled? No, he doesn't. He's a kilometre an hour slower, so that margin will be halved by the line. 2100s, no, he held on well. 57.03. Canada lead with 11 sleds to come. So there is a slender chance that he could pick up a spot, maybe even end up in the top 10. But for your first ever race here, safely down, 2 good trips, 12th place, take that.
Crossover, 11-12. Smooth, look at his eyes. You don't see anything to do with that brakeman back there. Perfectly aerodynamic, tucked in. Little skid there, look at that going into the take-on is where you get on the curve. A little skid going to that take-on causes friction, more steering. Not good for your time.
Coached by Lyndon Rush, who last time we came here, 2011, was driving for Canada. Next up, just outside the top 10 in the first heat. How just? 100th away from 10th. 11th place, Oskars Kibermanis with Virus bombs in the second of our Latvian sleds. Watch for these guys and their starting speed.
These are 2 decathletes. The best start time is the Latvia 1. This is Latvia 2. They got the second best start. It's 5:14, 5:20. Whoa, brakeman had some problems getting in, I think, there. Surprised at that, to go much slower. Everybody else went faster, but great start, but he didn't drive very well in the first heat. That's been his reputation so far. He hasn't been able to feel his way down the track yet.
He's only had 2 seasons as a driver so far. It takes time to learn these tracks. I'm not sure he raced here before, certainly not in World Cup. 1:10.3, good speed, but the gap has come right down.
I think he's going to fall back at least 1 spot.
Yeah, could be very close.
Rudder tips here. He can't get into a skid here.
If he gets 1:17 to the bottom in this Latvian sled,
he's coming back.
Closing on Cripps, tied for the lead as he got enough uphill into the final corner. 100th of a second. Exactly the same time to the 100th that Justin Cripps set, so it's the first slide between them that is still the only difference.
That's the way it was in the first heat, wasn't it?
They were 100th apart in the first heat, identical times in the second heat.
Hello, bobsledding.
That's why both heats have to count.
This is some great athlete in the front seat. When he figures out how to drive, Latvians will have 2 sleds top of the leaderboard.
Well, He's getting a handle on it. Cripps already a race winner.
Wow, the start. Something happened here, I think, because they should have had a better start than this 5:20. He had 5:16 in the first run. And, I guess that looks smooth. Something happened. Wasn't as good as their first run, but going to the leader's box. Here's our standings.
10 down, 10 to go. Oskars Kibermanis of Latvia leads by 100 from Justin Cripps. Stephen Holcomb in third place. We still have the medals to be decided here in Altenberg. Well, now that the rain has subsided, the regular 2-minute break for the TV schedule comes into play, and a chance for the crowd and the track workers to just draw their breath a little. And it looks like the start groove, the start area is holding up. The track seems to be holding up as well at the moment. The question is it going to close up when our leaders come down, or is Beat Hefty's 2/10 advantage enough to stay in the lead of this race and claim the gold medal?
Well, the first sleds we saw all were going a half-second faster. That's when the track had been prepared and spritzed. And about 7 sleds in, then the sleds only started getting 5 or 10 hundredths faster. And Kiberman just came down 100th faster.
Yeah.
So the tracks, that's it. No one else is probably going to go faster in their second run than they did their first run. But it's going to make for a pretty interesting competition here.
Well, yeah, have we reached the tipping point where the track is now going to start getting considerably worse, or will it hold up? I mean, the Eismeister here is very, very experienced in these mixed conditions. He's one of the best-known Eismeisters, track preparers in the business. He really knows how to get the best out of this Altenberg track.
I think the German coming, this Klammer, and I think Friedrich both have a chance to move up considerably.
Well, in our top 10, we've got 2 Russian sleds, including a World Cup debutant. We've got all 3 German sleds, including a World Cup debutant. And we've got a multiple 2-man winner who has yet to take a gold medal this season at the top of the pile, Beat Hefty. But is that enough to hold off the local hero? We've got 3 drivers from the Altenberg Track Club in the German team in the 2-man race. So if anybody knows these conditions, you've got to look to the guys in the yellow jackets and the yellow sleds. Altenberg in Germany, stop 3 on the FIBT Viessmann 2-man bobsleigh World Cup Tour. First race in Europe and a first ever World Cup race for this man, Maxim Adrianov of Russia, with Kirill Antuk behind him. I'm Martin Haven, John Morgan alongside me. There are your leaders, Oskars Kibermanis and Viris Leiboms on the right-hand side of your shot. They lead. They were only 100th behind this sled in the first heat.
It's all about the start time. He's 5:30, 900ths off. But he drove pretty well, considering where he came out of.
Yeah,
17th position. The 7th best start in the first run, so this guy's got some talent. First time we've seen him. But like we talked about with the other Russian sled when we're doing the headshots and interviewing him, what's it mean to be a member of the Russian bobsled program? Honor. So, I mean, it's almost like the sports of religion in their country now, and they bring in some athletes to the table.
Little better speed onto the Kreisel than Oskar Kibermanis, and off it, and he needs it because he's dropped 1100s behind.
That's related to the 1000s behind at the start, but he's bringing it back. Might have a chance. This is going to be another one that's right to the 100.
Oh, and just behind, 57.07 slide. The last 2 sleds have come down 57.03.
Yeah, there's going to be some fun here in the next 7-8 sleds.
Yeah.
It's going to get close.
And the gaps between the sleds in this part of the field are absolutely tiny as well.
Which is what they should be.
Yeah.
But in the first run, it was raining and windy and water running down the track like a kayak competition.
All round nasty.
Look at the rudder tips, the energy, 13 to 14.
See, still there's a water splash there as well, isn't there?
That's textbook. That's why he came back on the bottom.
Yep.
Boy, he had some drive. Perfect lines down here on the bottom, and this is somebody we should start paying attention to. This guy's
Well, if he starts showing up in World Cup races, we're going to see him. I was going to say, at the bottom, only Holcomb's sled went quicker through the speed trap so far.
The only thing Holcomb's lacking is the start time.
Well, that'll come. Simone Bertazzo of Italy, like a number of drivers, making his first World Cup start of the season. Francesco Costa behind him, back in their familiar Ferrari sled.
As experienced pilot as anybody in the field, Simone Bertazzo. His father, Joey, used to slide the Italian team, good friend of mine.
And what Italian doesn't want to race a red Ferrari? Look, he's living the dream, boy.
That's living the dream. Didn't use the sled last year, surprisingly. Francisco Costa's been around a little bit. +9. Well, you can find time on the bottom part of this track. This track will reward you.
Well, he's got good luck. He's got great hands.
+9,
110.8.
+3.
Here he comes.
Here he comes.
Exit speed, 109.9. That's level with the Russians.
He's going to need the perfect straightaway out of 13 right here. Look at the runners.
Needs 118 in the bottom. 116.8's not enough. Gap's going to grow. Russians will stay, the Latvians rather, will stay in the lead.
Oh, he drops 3 places.
Wow. 400's back and he drops 3 places.
Look how close it is. Top 4 sleds separated by 400ths of a second.
Wow.
Bobsledding.
No wonder Graham Richardson looked slightly disappointed by that. 400s, you shouldn't maybe drop 1 place, not 4.
Well, the start time, a little bit better than the first run. Get in, get down, settle, push bar down, good energy. Runner tips here. Can we see a lot of the brakeman's shoulders back there? You can see him. You shouldn't see that. Simone's going to have to get him down lower. Hey, he lost by what? 400s?
400s. Dropped 4 spots. That's brutal.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, next up, another first-timer on this track. 20-year-old Cody Basque from Whitehall, New York, just outside Lake Placid. Right behind him, Carlo Valdez. These guys crashed in training a couple times. Bit of a wild first ride, but he managed to keep some speed on board. 8th place in his first trip down the ice as the best American sled.
Yeah, the best start times, too. Valdez is from Newport Beach, California. Track and field coach out there. Well, this sounds pretty loud, though.
They found another extra 500s of confidence in the start, so a quicker start as well.
Well, Cody went 3rd down the track, so he had an advantage. 700s lead, little drift there.
Opening up the advantage slightly over Oscar's Kemamanis.
Crashed twice this week in training, maybe 3 times. Boy, he's pulling away. This kid, 20 years old, really improved himself in the weight room this summer, put on some muscle.
Well, listen, where did he learn to drive?
Lake Placid since
busy
he's
hands,
about 9
tough
years
corners.
old.
And this is busy hands and tough corners. This is playing to what he does best.
Oh, a little skid there. That could cost him, but he should have enough. It's going to be close.
Very close indeed. 100s in it in the top 4 at the moment, and he's 300s in.
Best finish of his career. U.S. program's got to be happy with that. Plus, he's got the best start times. That was the knock on him. He couldn't start the sled.
Top 8 in Altenberg. That's a good trip for Cody Basque.
He's going to be happy.
Oh, after 2 crashes in training, he's got to be ecstatic with that.
His father, I'm sure, is watching at home. Father carted him to the bobsled track for about 15 years now. Little mistake here on the exit of 13. Watch the runners. He's got to sneak over. Sitting up a little too high, I think.
Well, it's his first time on the track.
Yeah. Right.
They're all sitting up high. This track gets your attention and keeps it.
Well,
Albrecht Klammer of Germany making his World Cup debut here on his home track. The boys from Altenberg, just a couple of miles down the road. Eric Franke behind him, 7th place in the first heat.
this guy, watch out.
Well, he's only driving the 2-man. Max Arndt trained the 4-man this week, but they've given this Altenberg 2-man driver a huge opportunity to shine, and he's grabbed it with both hands in Heat 1.
favorite. Boys down by 200ths to Baskin.
All three German drivers come from within a 10-mile radius of this track, and all are in the top 7.
Boys down by a lot.
Yes, he is.
Cody Baskin's going to move up another spot here unless this German finds some magic on the bottom.
Didn't have enough speed into the
He
Kreisel.
lost more time, so this is going to be top 7 for Cody Baskin out at the bottom of the track.
Needs high 117s here to stand a chance. Hasn't got them. Not any quicker than the American sled. He will fall behind. Cody Baskin improves his season's best. Clamor drops to 5 places
Look at Christoph
back.
Long and look at that.
Look at that. Brutal. 700s behind Baskin. He loses 5 places.
Well, the top 5 sleds are separated by 700ths of a second.
Top 6 sleds. We have a tie for 5th place at the moment. Clamor and Batazzo, both 700s off the lead.
So you're saying that 100th of a second's like your knuckle down. There's 7 sleds that are separated by about 5 of those knuckles.
Couple feet.
He lost a lot of time up here before he got here. This is the straightaway. Pretty quiet all the way down that straightaway. Looking a bit the D, bottom part of that D, but look at the speed on the exit. He made a mistake up top we didn't see.
Well, he was just losing a little bit of speed all the way down off not bad lines. Maybe it's a runner choice that didn't
the Germans
pan out.
had that happen to him yesterday.
Yes, exactly. Next up, Alexander Kasyanov of Russia. 6th place after the first heat. Russia's last hope of a medal. 6800ths off the lead. 3/10 out of bronze in heat 1. That's a big ask on a track that is still holding up well.
33 to a 35. Speed 49.2, 49.9 is what we're going to see from the sleds coming up.
4/10 ahead of Cody Baskin when he sat down. Can he hang on?
This is as good a driver as there is in the field. And I said it before, when he came for his headshot shoot, he started talking about, pointed to his chest, and he said, big year for me. And then he went out and second in the 4-man in Lake Placid, only lost that by 100th. He's the new big dog in Russia. More of a 4-man influence than a 2-man. Down to 3,800ths ahead. He'll be the leader unless he crashes. He's not going to do that. He's starting to accelerate away.
Well, Cody Baskin's time in the leader box is over as Alexander Kasyanov takes it at the line. 57.14. There's Cody on the left and the very tall figure of Carlo Valdez on the right. 57.14 slide for Alexander Kasyanov. Fastest trips down the track, Justin Cripps and Oscar Kibermanis. 57.03. That was 7 and 8 sleds ago. Track is deteriorating.
The track's gone. Look at the track. Look at the water in the track.
Look at Pushkarev as well. Look how far he's running this down as he leaps in.
Like he got it caught. His right hand got caught, and he had to come in unevenly and might have altered the sled left to right.
Alexander Kasyanov, the race leader here in Altenberg, Germany. 5 sleds still to come. Five to go in Altenberg, Germany, race 3 of the 2-man bobsleigh World Cup. 2 sleds are German, including this man, the reigning world champion in 2-man, local boy Francesco Friedrich.
Torsten Margus on the back, huge man. 5.16 in the first run, 5.16 in the second run. Friedrich did not drive very well, and he didn't do that right there in 3.
Winner in Lake Placid, silver in Calgary. Is he going to fail on his home track to claim a medal?
Well, he's going to need, watch the exit here, watch his runner tips.
2/10 off bronze.
He's lost a lot of time back.
Not fast enough.
He's lost a lot of time back. This is what the German sleds have been doing. Yesterday in women's bobsledding, they had the same problem, losing more time back.
Needs 117 highs. Is he going to be in the 17s at all?
Oh, he's going to hang on.
117.2. Yes, but it's not enough to stay in the medals.
I don't think he's going to have a chance to win a medal. But the track is doing some strange stuff here. 14, Kasyanov. You'll see him tomorrow. He's a medal. He's a medal favorite for me. Christoph Long and the coach looks on and The Germans are a little perplexed to being on their home track like this, and their sleds have big question marks.
Yep.
Kathleen Martini yesterday was perplexed. Now, she didn't win a medal, starting in the second position after run 1 and finishing in 4th.
That is only the 5th fastest trip down the ice today. Fastest 2, Justin Cripps and Oskars Kiebermanis.
Wow. Look at the crossover. Look at the spray coming off the runners. Look how low he is. I mean, this looks like textbook runs. And the German sleds just start fast. They got great starts.
The track's not helping them either.
Well,
the track is definitely slowing down.
If I'm the German management, I'm a little suspect with their equipment.
And I'm not disagreeing with you there either, but I don't think the ice is helping much. Let's see what happens with Rico Peter of Switzerland. There is Francesco Friedrich, your junior and senior two-man world champion. Rico Peter of Switzerland with Bro van der Zijde behind him. He pushed for Ivo de Bruin in a Dutch sled 2 seasons ago. Very strong brakeman.
5:22 in heat 1, little drift there. 5:22 in heat 2. And I'll tell you something, this guy's been driving. I hope I don't jinx him, but he's been driving. First part of the year, he's had some impressive heats.
5th in Lake Placid, 6th position in Calgary. He was 4th here, 10th off the medals in heat 1. Only 300s in front of Friedrich. Is there any speed to be found still in this track?
10, yeah, this is what he does.
There is 1:10.6, quicker than the Germans.
The Swiss sled, Hefty's leading, and this Swiss sled is flying, pulling away. This got a chance to be a medal. Oh, and he just tapped right there. Shouldn't cost him too dearly. Look at these lines, perfect. Wow, this is his best heat of his life. Top
Good
4
run.
is his record for him. Never had a top
Really good
4
run.
finish. Wow.
57.02. That is now the fastest trip in the second heat. He has been quicker than Justin Cripps and Oskars Kiebermanis by 100th of a second.
If there's anybody I'm impressed with this season, two-man bobsled, right here.
This could be really his big standout year. Last year, he really upped his game. This year now,
He's got a start time.
he's in there and swinging.
Top 5 start.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Look at the camaraderie.
As Friedrich offering his congratulations.
Look at the lines. Now watch him hit the bottom part of the D here. Right there. That's almost too much. Comes down, comes back up, climbs a little bit too high here as I look at it. But boy, maybe that's a fast line. Now here's the exit of Kreisel.
Look at the little red flag
That
in
red
the
flag
top.
tells you better get out of here.
Yep. As the red rag to the bull tells you to pull it off the corner. There's Rico Peter, your race leader, with 3 to go. Will we have a Swiss sled in the medals? Might we have 2? Third after heat 1, our joint World Cup points leader, Oskars Melbardis, with Damas Dreskins behind him. Fastest start.
Yeah, but they made a mistake. Let's watch their start speed this time. They made a mistake. Their start advantage was gone by curve 3.
Yeah.
Should be a 50.0 speed down here with 5:14 start. Watch the speed there. It's 50.2.
Watch the corners. Where does he make the mistake?
He made a mistake up here that cost him.
Little wriggle there.
He was rough there at 3 in the first run, I think it is. He should have been way down, especially because the Belgian sled yesterday, which is a Latvian-built sled, same setup, that sled was a rocket ship here. It is won the first Belgian ever medal in bobsledding, women's bobsledding. 2/10 lead, well, that's expected.
Slower than Rico Peter onto the Kreisel. Rico Peter was 1:10.2 off it.
It's coming
Slower
back at
behind.
him. This is the Swiss at the bottom. Rico Peter's never won a medal.
1:17 at the bottom for Rico Peter.
Oh, now it's online.
Here we go.
online.
Now he's back. And look at the speed off the Latvian
Big
sled.
speed.
1:18.3. That is him in the medals, definitely. Well, he's had a bronze, a silver rather, and a gold this year. He's got at least a bronze here in Altenberg.
This will keep him as a World Cup leader going into the next race.
Yes, it will. He's ahead of Francesco Friedrich. He'll have sole lead of the two-man World Cup.
Much better run, but still not what I thought he should have. This time he was better up top. Look at Viessmann. Look at the length of the stride. This is a 250-pound man, former basketball player. Looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, if they found him in college football, he'd be a big star, wouldn't he?
Stud.
And the size of his hands?
Look Look at the
dinner
finish.
plates.
Well, look at that.
Yep, that's
Coming late. Now this is coming. Holcup came 10 sleds ago.
Yanis Skratskins. That's his aero cheating abilities with that BTC sled set up.
There's Viessmann.
Yeah.
Look at the size of that boy. Don't want to meet him in an alley.
Yeah.
And the guy on the right's 6'3".
Yeah. So, 2 to go. Nico Walter of Germany. Nico Walter, more importantly, of Altenberg. Second in the first heat, with Joshua Bloom behind him.
Bloom is emerging as one of the top German brakemen. Great athletic background.
And no medals so far for
Boy,
this weekend in Altenberg.
5:24, 49.8 start speed. Not bad, 0.4 per kilometer now, but he was 0.10 behind at the start to the Latvian. And this is a rising star in the sport. We asked him, what sport background did you come from? He goes, luge. All I ever did was luge. As a 6-year-old kid, he came to bobsledding when he was 19. This is the rising star in the sport for Germany, they say, like the other one, Friedrich, but he's 1100s down.
And he's not got the speed the Latvians had into the Kreisel. What does he take off it? 1:10.2 for the Latvians,
He's holding on.
1:10 dead. No, the gap will grow.
But he's going to hold on to at least a chance for a medal.
And he's not going to have 1:18 at the bottom, not close, half a kilometre an hour away.
Still looks like a bronze medal for Nico.
Second place at the line for Nico Walter.
Best time.
Yep. The speed is not there in the track.
But Walter, the coach, Christoph Long, had told us last night we're having dinner in the same restaurant. He said Walter's a year away.
Yep.
I think he's arrived.
I think he might be a week away. Let's see what happens next week. He's in the medals here, Nico Walter. World Cup rookie and hometown hero. His results so far this season read 11th, 7th, and now at least 3rd.
Look at these lines. Home track. Look at Christoph Long. And look at, you steer too much. Look at, he's trying to drive the sled for him.
Hey, there's a German with a medal hanging round his neck. Don't be too disappointed for Nico Walter. He's going to be at least in the bronze medal position, and it all now comes down to Beat Hefty. He's driving a 3800s advantage over Oskar Melbardis from the first heat. He has to give this away.
On most tracks, this would be a victory lap, but not here.
Not
on the
today.
lady in black. Two huge men. Silver medalists at last year's Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia. 5:14 start. That matches the best start of the competition. 50.3 speed at the top of the track. That's the best start speed. And this sled, as we saw his teammate do, flies. City of sleds came out 4 years ago in Vancouver. They weren't good then, but boy, these things are fine-tuned now.
3800s ahead at the start. He's 3700s up still. Now the gap comes down a little. 1099, slower than the Latvian sled as he goes onto the Kreisel. 1097 on the exit, still slower than the Latvian sled. How small will the gap be at the next clock?
He's got it.
1800s, he might not have it. 116, 2 kilometers an hour down. It's going to be down into single digits. Melbardis or Hefty? It's Hefty by 800ths of a second. He just managed to find what he needed at the bottom. Only 400ths of a second quicker than Nico Walter, and some 0.3 of a second slower than Oskar Melbardis on that run. But it is the first win of the two-man season. Make that the first win of the season for Beat Hefty, because he's not driving four-man, but he loves that. This is a real driver's track, and a real driver has stood up and grabbed the gold away from the Latvians and the Germans. Rico Peter, big smile on his face, helping with the sled there. He's in 4th position, but it is Hefty that claims the gold. There's Alex Baumann, his brakeman. For the first win of the season, he had a big first heat advantage. They had a big start. Latvians started exactly the same, but the BTC sled found more pace down the track than the Citius sled. and the gap from 3800ths had evaporated away in the afternoon wind to just 800ths of a second by the line. Enough for victory, but not a massive margin for Bert Hefti. And there is your final score. Bert Hefti, 800ths ahead of Oskars Melbardis. Nico Walter, first ever World Cup medal, bronze here in Altenberg, ahead of Rico Peter, Francesco Friedrich, and Alexander Kasyanov. And that means that Melbardis now has sole lead of the World Cup standings. As we look at the rest of them, Klammer, the German rookie, in 11th place in his two-man World Cup debut. So, 24-year-old Nico Walter manages to cling on to a podium spot. And Axel Jung, another from the Altenberg track, from the town of Altenberg itself, just 300s out of the medals in the men's skeleton race, couldn't quite force his way into the bronze medal position.
Yeah!
But two very happy Swiss. I believe I'm contractually obliged at this stage to say Hop Suisse, Hop Schweiz. I'm not sure how it goes in Italian, Swiss, French Swiss, Up Suisse, who knows. Bert Hefti and Alex Baumann, though, looking very, very happy with that victory over the World Cup points leader, Oskars Melbardis. And Francesco Friedrich kept off the podium by teammate Nico Walter and by Rico Peter of Switzerland. So the Latvian flags and the Swiss flags down there will be fluttering in the wind. Mind you, everything down there is fluttering in the wind. You can see our commentary area, the buildings on the right-hand side of your picture. We're well protected down in the valley, but the wind generators will certainly be working overtime today. It's a very blustery day in southeastern Germany. For the hometown fans, disappointed yesterday, Kathleen Martini, her last ever top international race here, didn't make the podium. Axel Jung with his big fan club didn't make the podium today either. Fourth place for him too, just a whisker out. But they have got Nico Walter on the podium, so they'll be heading home this afternoon, happy to have seen a young German driver from their hometown claiming a medal in this two-man race. Well, the flags will be flying for our top three in just a moment. Oskars Melbardis takes control of the World Cup rankings. Second place here against fifth for Francesco Friedrich, splitting them for the first time since Calgary in race two. Bert Hefti and Rico Peter for Switzerland. What a good season they're having. Third and fourth in the standings ahead of Alexander Kasyanov. And Nico Walter, a World Cup rookie, just 3 races into his World Cup career, in 6th position, with Olympic champions and World Cup race winners behind him. Well, Cody Bascu now 10th in the points behind his 2 US teammates. He had a good race here. Here's our top 3. Flowers being presented to the 3rd place finishers, Nico Walter and Joshua Bloom. It's Andreas Trautmann, the vice president of the FIBT, who presents the winners with their flowers. On the right is Bert Hefti, on the left Alex Baumann. Oskars Melbardis on the right, Damas Treskins on the left in the Latvian plum and white. They are 2nd position, and the yellow jackets of Germany for Nico Walter, and the smiling face alongside him, that of Joshua Bloom. So first World Cup podium for those two. The others are fairly familiar with that. And it was a very strong first heat performance from Bert Hefti that really laid the foundations for this win, because the second heat, Oskars Melbardis was comfortably the fastest sled on the track. Hefti posting only the 5th fastest time, 8th fastest time, I beg your pardon, down the track. But he held on to win by 0.08 of a second and claim his first victory of the season. Well, we'll hear from him in just a moment, but first, some happy hometown boys. Let's get down to John Morgan as we hear from our top 3.
First medal ever for Team Nico Walter. What does this mean to win your first medal on your home track?
It's amazing. The people all around here, they are crazy. It's such a good feeling today. I'm pretty happy.
Well, great. I'm sure you'll have a good chance to enjoy the moment tonight. Congratulations. Okay, over to the team with the World Cup lead. Good second run?
Jā, nedaudz nepaveicās varbūt ar pirmo numuru, pirmajā braucienā, bet jā, esam apmierināti, labi nobraucām otro braucienu. Paldies.
He's the World Cup leader as we go into the next race. Congratulations. Now, hey, first gold of the year on Altenberg, a tough track. 2 great runs for you.
Yeah, it's unbelievable we can win here. I find no words, but it's great. I think the last Swiss winner here was Gustav Weder, so it's really great for us.
What a moment. Congratulations to both of you. Back.
Gustav Weder, that must be getting on for nearly 20 years ago. In fact, the last Swiss winner here was in women's skeleton, but we'll let that one slide. Congratulations to all our top 3, to everybody who made a race out of what looked as though it wasn't going to be very promising. And well done indeed again to the track workers for getting 2 full races in trying conditions today. My thanks to John Morgan, to the FIBT TV crew here. We'll see you next time out. Thanks for joining us. Martin Haven saying goodbye for now.
Okay. Okay, and what about the brakeman? Any questions for him? I'll give him one. Okay. You speak in Swiss Deutsch. I ask you 3 questions, okay? Okay. Beat, okay. Yeah. Tell me when. Yeah, Altenberg, a very tough track. What does this mean for you to win on a track like Altenberg?
Ja, ist unglaublich. Für uns bedeutet das sehr viel hier in Altenberg. Ist sehr eine schwierige Bahn. Heute hat wirklich einfach alles zusammengepasst, vom Start über das Fahren, über das Material. Und es ist wirklich unglaublich, dass wir jetzt hier gewinnen können.